Where local Mayor Jacob Frey is speaking. That's after the Department of Homeland Security confirmed a second shooting by a federal agent in the city.
Anyone that is at the scene to leave immediately. This is already a very tense situation, and we do not need this to escalate any further. I have faith that the investigators that are involved will follow every lead in this case and ensure it is completed to its logical conclusion.
There's still a lot that we don't know at this time, but what I can tell you for certain is that this is not sustainable. This is an impossible situation that our city is presently being put in. And at the same time, we are trying to find a way forward to keep people safe, to protect our neighbors, to maintain.
Don't be gaslit by these people, they're criminals. He'd be in on the fraud as well. Okay, so this is the scene of this second shooting. Let's just see. So these useful idiots are protecting the fraudulent people that are in the country that shouldn't be. What this actually is, the behaviour of these people, it's actually treasonous. It's treasonous behaviour. They're breaking the law, those people. They're actually breaking the law. And it gives them something to do, the useful idiots, something to do. This is presented by freedomnews.tv. These people, they wonder why people are getting shot. They're interfering with federal police work. So what they've done, they've had to shoot a migrant, a Venezuelan migrant who's come running at them yielding a shovel. That's what they've done. He's come running at them yielding a shovel.
And we're in a position right now where we have residents that are asking the very limited number of police officers that we have to fight ICE agents on the street.
Now, can you see how insane that is? These people, right, they need to be in their homes, leaving the ICE agents alone, just letting them do the job. Right, but they can't get it. These people have to be corrupt. To be standing there and speaking like this, they'd have to be corrupt. They're not in their right minds. These police, the police guy on the left of this bloke, they ain't doing anything to help ICE. They ain't doing anything really to help the situation at all.
To stand by their neighbors. We cannot be at a place right now in America.
No, in Minneapolis, mate, not America.
Have two governmental entities that are literally fighting one another. Why are
No, they're not. No, they're not. They're in treason. These people, because they're so corrupt, the Minneapolis mayor and these other people, they're busted. They're busted, and this is bringing attention to them, and this will get them in trouble.
put in this position? We're put in this position because we have approximately 600 police officers in Minneapolis, far fewer that are able to work at any given time.
Well, whose fault's that? If they had to run the government right, if he had to run his jurisdiction right, there'd be as many police as he wants. But the more police, the more trouble. So let's keep the numbers down so they can't work out all the fraud and all the evil and wrong that they're doing. It's pretty bad, viewers. It's not just a joke. It's organised crime within the government and the police.
Let's go back to Bill Malugin. By the way, he just got a statement from ICE. I have a copy of it myself now, Bill. What can you update us with? Because they gave very specifics. I'm looking at it right now as we speak. I'll let you report on it.
Yeah, Sean, I just got this literally 45 seconds ago. I'm just going to read it to you live. DHS says at 6:50 p.m. Central Time tonight, quote, federal law enforcement officers were conducting a targeted traffic stop in Minneapolis of an illegal alien from Venezuela who was released into the country by Joe Biden in 2022. In an attempt to evade arrest, the subject fled the scene in his vehicle and crashed into a parked car. The subject then fled on foot. The law enforcement officer caught up to the subject on foot and attempted to apprehend him when the subject began to resist and violently assault the officer. While the subject and law enforcement were in a struggle on the ground, two subjects came out of a nearby apartment and also attacked the law enforcement officer with a snow shovel and broom handle. As the officer was being ambushed and attacked by the two individuals.
Lucky that didn't happen here in Melbourne in Australia, because they would have come running out with machetes.
The original subject got loose and began striking the officer with a shovel or broomstick. Fearing for his life and safety as he was being ambushed by three individuals, the officer fired defensive shots to defend his life. The initial subject was hit in the leg. All three subjects ran back into the apartment and barricaded themselves inside. The attacked officer and subject are both in the hospital. Both attackers are in custody. This is another attack. This attack on another brave member of law enforcement took place while Minnesota's top leaders, Governor Walz and Mayor Fry, are actively encouraging an organized resistance to ICE and federal law enforcement officers. Their hateful rhetoric.
Waltz and his cronies, his government, they need to be locked up for treason. Just treason. Treason against the jobs and the trust that they were given.
Resistance against men and women who are simply trying to do their job must end. So a very lengthy statement there, Sean, but it sounds a whole lot more complicated than what we initially had, that this was one person involved with the shovel. It sounds like ICE was going after a Venezuelan illegal alien who had been caught and released at the border by the Biden administration in 2022. That person crashed into a parked car, got out and fled. ICE was chasing him down, and then while they were wrestling on the ground, two people came out of a nearby apartment and then started attacking the ICE officer with shovels. And during that ambush attack, that is when the officer pulled out his weapon, fired, and hit one of the suspects, who again is stable. So it sounds like the suspects are in custody, and this is being described to Fox News from DHS as yet another attack on ICE officers in Minneapolis, Sean.
And what the Democrats will do and their cronies is they'll turn it around. They'll reverse it and make out that this person was shot for no reason at all.
And there are approximately 3,000 ICE agents in the area.
Well, you'd think they'd be grateful, wouldn't you? You'd think, you'd be saying, if you had any brains, you'd be saying, well, let's get this done as quickly as we can, and that'll be it. But not these guys. They've got too much to hide.
3,000. The 600 police officers that we have are charged on any given day with investigating crime, stopping homicides
Well,
from
they might want to start with investigating Jacob Fry's Minneapolis office and just follow the money from there, because they're all going to go. They're all guilty of theft and fraud, all of them, not some of them. It starts at the top with Tim Waltz, and it'll go right down through the layers. Right? That's why this person, he hasn't got the brains or the morality or the integrity to be able to respond with this with any sanity, because his whole position, the way in which he's run his position as Minneapolis mayor, is corrupted. So therefore his mindset's corrupted.
Taking place, preventing carjackings. That's the work of a police officer in a city.
Well, okay, viewers, if it is, why aren't they helping? If it's the police officer's job, why aren't they helping? There's no sign of the Minneapolis police helping ICE.
Meanwhile, we have ICE agents throughout our city and throughout our state who, along with Border Control, are creating chaos.
No, they're not. It's the neighbourhoods, the people in the neighbourhoods that are listening to Jacob Fry, Minneapolis mayor, narrative, that's causing the chaos. This guy that got shot, they were trying to arrest a Venezuelan illegal migrant, and two other people came out and attacked him. One got shot. That's it. You don't attack police, you're going to get shot. But look at this. Look how evil this is.
This is not the path that we should be on right now in America.
No, well, there's that many well, hang on. Minneapolis, where there should be. The last administration let in 20 million illegal migrants, and Trump's trying to clean it up in the short time that he's got. No, he won't be able to clean it up. And these sort of people are dangerous. They haven't got the right mindset.
Thankfully, there's another path. And I want to talk to everybody who's out there, even people who aren't living in Minneapolis right now.
Okay, so this man is about to take it upon himself to give counsel to the nation. Now let's listen and see if he's wise or a fool. The police officer's got his head down, so he don't know what's coming.
Maybe you just put your kids to bed. Maybe you're cleaning up the dishes. I'm sure you love your family. There's no doubt in my mind that you love your town. Imagine if that city or that town was suddenly invaded by thousands of federal agents that do not share the values that you hold dear.
Okay, so obviously the values of this bloke, right, because we want the ICE agents to get home to their families safely as well. The values of Minneapolis, Jacob Fry, the mayor, are steal, kill, rape, maim, attack police officers, attack federal agents, have fraudulent businesses and lie and cheat and steal. The opposite of what America was built upon, and that's what this guy's values are. If you listen to what he's saying, that's what his values are. Because all the ICE people are coming in to do is take away illegal citizens. And I'd expect that in my street. Would you?
Imagine if your daily routines were disrupted. The local cafe that you eat at was shut down because they're scared that their own family might get torn apart.
Well, their own family will get torn apart, viewers, if they're illegal migrants. ICE just ain't pulling any. See, this is called serial theatre, right? Serial theatre. It's completely out of order. This is the Addams family in government, basically.
Imagine if schools shut down and suddenly parents got to figure out what to do for daycare.
Well, if they've got to figure out what to do for daycare, there's plenty of empty daycares over there in Minneapolis. Don't worry about that. They'll get a spot, mate. So, well said. Timing's brilliant.
This is not creating safety. It's certainly not creating safety when a huge percentage of the shootings that have taken place so far this year in Minneapolis have been by ICE.
That's a lie. That's an absolute out and out utter lie.
So let's be very clear. I've seen conduct from ICE that is disgusting and is intolerable. If it were your city, it would be unacceptable there too. And for
No, where he's got it wrong, he's allowing his city to be in rebellion. He's encouraging his city to be in rebellion. And what does that mean? That means he's a rebel as well, and probably the police officer next to him is as well. Okay? And they've completely reversed the narrative to make ICE look like the Crims. All the people interfering with them apparently are justified by his perception. But, I mean, even the simplest... I failed at school, and I could tell you that you don't interfere with a federal law operation. But it's so bad now, the mindset of these people that are in governments. They're so foolish and so warped and twisted that they're encouraging the place to go against the police, the federal agents. The police, obviously they're corrupted because they're not helping either.
Anyone that is taking the bait tonight, stop. That is not helpful. Go home. We cannot counter Donald Trump's chaos with our own brand of chaos. And
So now he's sending a mixed message. On the one hand, he's saying we can't let them do this. And on the other hand, he's saying go home. And now he's blaming Donald Trump. So he's got Trump derangement syndrome as well.
I've seen thousands of people throughout our city peacefully protesting. For those that have peacefully protested, I applaud you. For those that are taking the bait, you are not helping, and you are not helping the undocumented immigrants in our city.
Okay, so he wants the undocumented immigrants to be helped. Why doesn't he just send his police in to help get them out? It can happen pretty quick. Get them out as quickly as you can. Anybody that gets in the way will be arrested as well. Why aren't they just saying that? Because there's something wrong with their mentality, that's why.
You are not helping the people that call this place home.
Troopers, Texas police. Come out of the car. Come out of the car. Come out of the car. Open the window. He's in proceedings. He's good to go. Let me get out of the way. Lower the window.
Watch out behind you. Watch out.
Oh.
Watch out in front of you. Watch out in front.
So that's an illegal immigrant ramming their cars. Look. This is what they're up against. That's a deadly weapon.
Come out of the car. Come out of the car. Come out. Now.
All right, here with reaction, ICE Director Todd Lyons. Todd, I mean, if that doesn't educate the public about these ramming incidents, I don't know what else will, on top of what happened. You know, previously, we now have 3 in recent days. Very dangerous now. Do you tie a lot of this danger to the rhetoric of people like Tim Walz, who compares ICE to Gestapo?
Yeah, Sean, unfortunately, when we hear elected officials calling upon individuals to impede or obstruct, ICE law enforcement operations nationwide, you're going to see incidents like this. And that was a video you're probably not going to see on mainstream media, right? That actually shows exactly what's happening. You saw the officers and agents attempting to apprehend a criminally illegal alien, and there they are using their car as a weapon. The lead vehicle, the ICE vehicle, the gray one that was struck, that officer had to go to the hospital with neck injuries. And every day, Sean, this is what the men and women of ICE are facing. It's constant impediments, constant attacks like this. And, it's not safe for my folks. It's not safe for the public. It really needs to stop.
What do you make of these groups that have instructions on how to confront and basically fight with ICE agents? They call it a micro-antifada, and I can go into all the details of it. I'm sure you're closely aware of it. But we're talking about a strategy laid out by groups of people to make your jobs harder and obstruct justice. Should those people be arrested?
100%, Sean. Any law enforcement officer will tell you, it's a constitutional right, go out there and protest. But when you have organized criminal gangs, which these are, that are organizing these groups to, again, impede or obstruct law enforcement operations, lawful law enforcement agents, enacting the laws that Congress has written, that's a criminal act. And I will tell you that Homeland Security investigations, my folks, the FBI, we're investigating these, and people are going to be held accountable because you can't organize groups to go out and impede law enforcement. It's a criminal act, and we have to act swiftly to cause this from spreading.
What should be happening is the Minneapolis police should be rounding these people up or warning them to go home, but they're not contributing at all. The ICE agent that shot the Venezuelan man in the leg in North Minneapolis after assault during a traffic stop, which has sparked the new protests and clashes, is this. A federal ICE officer shot a Venezuelan national in the leg during a targeted traffic stop in North Minneapolis after the man fled, crashed his vehicle, and assaulted the officer with 2 others using a snow shovel and a broom handle. Protesters gathered at the scene, leading to clashes where ICE agents deployed tear gas, flashbangs, and chemical irritants to disperse crowds throwing objects, with rioters looting federal vehicles and stealing sensitive documents. Right? There you go. So these rioters, they're looting the federal vehicles and they're stealing the sensitive documents that are in these vehicles. The incident prompted criticism from the Minnesota Governor, Tim Walz, and Minneapolis Mayor, Jacob Frey, who urged recording ICE agents and demanded their departure from the city. These people are absolutely mental, these leaders.
You have a response to Philadelphia's DA threatening to prosecute ICE agents, which, by the way, is not constitutional, but putting that aside, do you have a response for that DA?
You know, Sean, what I'll say is the men and women of ICE, the men and women of ERO, the men and women of HSI, they're not committing any crimes. So he doesn't have to worry about arresting any of my folks, because what we are doing is we're enforcing the law. We are out there every day making this nation and his city safe again. So he shouldn't worry about the men and women of ICE. What he should worry about is the sanctuary policies that have these criminal aliens go back into his neighborhoods and commit heinous crimes like fentanyl trafficking, human trafficking, rape of a child. He should focus on those and let law enforcement do law enforcement work.
All right, Director Lyons.
The pages of their playbook are dog-eared. Now, first, they distort reality by lying and smearing people with the sole purpose of poisoning public opinion.
Kristi Noem has plainly tried to signal to ICE that they are free to act with impunity, to purposefully manufacture and escalate confrontations, and even execute whomever they please.
Does that sound like normal rhetoric to you? These people don't look like people I would trust in the screen there, especially the people on the one holding the staff and the guy behind him. They're in on it. They're all in on it, viewers.
These are vicious lies, 100% made up.
Yep.
But for Benny, the easiest thing to do is villainize those who put their lives on the line every day. So never mind the fact that the agent who shot Renee Good last week suffered internal bleeding in his torso when Ms. Good, the poor innocent mother, decided to give him a love tap with her vehicle. His life to them is irrelevant. We actually think all loss of life is tragic, but not them. And of course, pathetic Schumer went in big time for the defamation.
We have talked to police officers across the country and the police department in Minneapolis itself. And they know that these ICE agents are so totally untrained in police doctrine.
If they got in behind this guy's financial accumulation, he'd be put away for life, 100%.
They don't know what to do, how to do it, and it ends up even killing people and causing such mayhem.
Total lie. And one problem, Chuck, according to reports, this officer had a decade of experience at ICE and was very well liked. A good Christian man with an immigrant wife. Even after he was dragged by another car in an immigration raid last June, he returned to work. But a former entertainment reporter at CNN, come on, she doesn't care about the truth. She writes her own drama, and her script is blindingly tedious.
Let's just call it what it is. This is violent. This is chaos. This is escalation. These are not the best practices of law enforcement. The ICE agents are clearly emboldened. We've seen them going out since the shooting, telling people, did you see what we did the other day? It's sending a message that these tactics are acceptable. It is normalizing the violence.
Okay, what she's doing literally is normalizing the violence of the jackals who are surrounding ICE agents. They're throwing frozen water bottles, shooting off fireworks to sound like, bullets going off. And of course, as we know, ramming vehicles.
Watch out behind you, watch out! Holy watch out in front of you, watch out in front!
Get out of the car!
And when they weren't trying to hurt the agents, they were being disgusting pigs.
Somebody threw a bottle of piss and it went all inside the vehicle too, and all over me. So that's the peaceful
bottle of urine. They're throwing urine and feces.
That's not a
now.
protest. That's assault.
Yeah.
That's the type of person ICE is dealing with out there. I saw it firsthand. Because they're taking criminal illegals off the streets. Now the ICE agents are persona non grata. But the smear squads were out in full force all day long, and the propaganda was nonstop.
This is no longer about immigration. This is about a secret police force that Donald Trump and the Republicans have unleashed on American streets and cities, and anybody can be caught in their net.
Okay, distorted commentary like that, it circulates. Then what happens? A poll is conducted by a friendly pollster. CNN and Friends touts CNN's poll.
A brand new CNN poll shows that 56% of Americans think that ICE agents' use of force that killed Renee Nicole Good 1 week ago in Minneapolis, 56% say was inappropriate.
Now, always remember, the best propagandists pick and choose data points, and they disregard others. And they do that to whip up public sentiment in their preferred direction. And naturally, CNN takes it a step further by curating video snippets without any context to drive home their point.
We have a new CNN poll to show you. 56% of Americans say that use of force in the shooting was inappropriate, and 51% say that ICE is making American cities less safe. Why do so many feel that way? Well, here's just one example of what Americans are watching on their phones.
Okay, well, they pull a woman, and you'll see it. I hope we play the entire sound bite there. But we see a woman, and it looks very incendiary. A clip of her being pulled out of the car includes her at one point shouting that she was disabled, autistic, going to a doctor's appointment. But just like in so many other so-called police brutality cases, the missing video holds the key. In other words, what precipitated the ICE response? Of course, without that factual predicate, it all looks rough. It looks shocking even. But what happened in the moments leading up to the officers removing her from a vehicle are key. Even the UK's Daily Mail included the DHS account, which is that the woman was trying to wedge the agents between hers and another vehicle blocking the street. But that's not in the clip, of course, widely shared on social media. They ended up having to carry the woman out on all fours. It was pathetic. But the other side's propaganda does work, at least in the short term. Joe Rogan sees importing illegals smartly as part of the Democrats' long-term plan to dominate U.S. elections. So the podcaster extraordinaire should know better than to repeat Tim Walz's talking points.
You don't want militarized people in the streets just roaming around, snatching people up, many of which turn out to actually be U.S. citizens. They just don't have their papers on them. Are we really going to be the Gestapo? Where's your papers? Is that what we've come to?
Well, it's had to be that way to identify who these people are. There's so many of them. They're never going to get them all out. There's almost the population of Australia come over the border into America during Joe Biden's, Sleepy Joe's office. This is a worldwide immigration agenda for these people to keep their positions in Parliament because they're fleecing taxpayers' money.
That's just absurd. I'm sorry, and everyone knows I love Joe Rogan. The reason Obama and Biden's ICE operations were quieter, not chaotic generally, is because there was no resistance to them.
The left needs to hear that they have created this situation by disobeying the immigration laws, by ignoring the deportation orders, by not reporting people who are committing crimes.
If they let us into their damn jail and stop being a sanctuary city, we could arrest the bad guy in the safety and security of the jail. But because they normally release them, now we got to go in the community and find them. Then they're mad we're in the community.
Sanctuary city policies created this. It creates and fuels the conflagration on the ground. And look, the open borders propagandists can squawk all they want. They can deceptively curate all the video they can find. They can commission more polls. But I will bet a lot of money right now that no serious Democrat running in 2028 will run on defunding ICE or relaxing border enforcement. And why is that? Because the only poll on this that really mattered was the one that took place in November of 2024, when 77 million Americans voted for stronger borders and lots of deportations. And that's
Hey, Sean Hannity.
So just in closing, I asked the question, how many shootings have occurred in Minneapolis and by whom from December 2025 up to date? Took 8 minutes and 48 seconds for it to get this info. Let's just see what it says. You're asking for, number one, how many shootings in Minneapolis from December 2025 to today, January 15, 2026, and two, by who? Okay. The by who part, what's actually public, Minneapolis shooting incidents do not have a publicly identified shooter, either not arrested yet, not named or not charged. The city's public crime data sets generally track incidents, not the person who did it. Publicly identified shooters in your date window are that ChatGTP can verify right now. Let's have a look. This could be real partial. This could be very partial. An ICE officer shot Renee, that's the car lady. A federal immigration officer shot a man in the leg during an attempted apprehension, which we've just watched. That's what's named in major reporting that I can access cleanly right now. But how many shootings? The shootings part. There are multiple common definitions people use. Gunshot wound victims, shots fired, calls, reports, shooting crimes. So is this thing going to give us a number? It's thrown, as I expected, it's thrown ICE under the bus, straight under the bus, because that's the most advertised stories at the moment. The city of Minneapolis explicitly provides a gunshot wound dashboard, people shot, and they provide a crime data feed that includes offences like shots fired, calls, and other incident types, but that database doesn't tell you by who. So let's just click on this. Here's the gunshot wound dashboard. Right. Interesting. Why I'm not giving you a single number anyway. Okay, well, it better. I want the total number.
Minneapolis, Jacob Fry made a shocking admission just hours after the reports that ICE agents had a second officer-involved shooting.
And we're in a position right now where we have residents that are asking the very limited number of police officers that we have to fight ICE agents on the street, to stand by their neighbors.
Because this incident just happened hours before I'm recording this, it is 100% subject to change. But based on the initial reports, ICE initiated a stop of a criminal alien from Venezuela. He refused to stop. He was on the interstate. At some point, he got off the interstate, called people that were back at the house that he was staying at. They then called the Minneapolis police and said that ICE was chasing their loved one or family member or whatever. And by the time Minneapolis police arrived on scene, ICE agents had stopped the criminal. The criminal had crashed the vehicle, got out of the vehicle. There are some reports that some type of incident ensued where there was a struggle. Somehow, either the illegal alien or potential other people near the scene where he crashed grabbed a shovel and grabbed a broomstick. That ICE agent then discharged their firearm, striking the person believed to be the criminal alien from Venezuela. Some of the reports are still murky, but the person that was hit ran into the residence and hid for some time before being drug out. Now, to me, sounds pretty cut and dry. If you assault an ICE officer and you are using a weapon, like people die all the time from blunt instruments, whether we're talking about shovels or broomsticks, but of course, none of that matters to these deranged, violent, anti-ICE activists, protesters, and Marxists. They started to lob explosives and other projectiles like rocks and ice chunks at officers, both Minneapolis police and also DHS, Border Patrol, and ICE agents that were there on the scene. Now, what's shocking to me is that Jacob Fry doesn't seem to understand that it's actually his rhetoric, along with Keith Ellison, Tim Walz, Ilhan Omar, and basically every Democrat who keeps on pushing the false lies that ICE are masked people who are kidnapping neighbors. That type of rhetoric is exactly why deranged, violent anti-ICE activists would ask him to send Minneapolis police to fight ICE in the streets, to protect their neighbors. And on the topic of dangerous rhetoric, at almost the exact same time that the shooting was occurring, Governor Tim Walz had recorded and then released an address to Minnesota where he demonized ICE repeatedly, saying that they were lowly trained, saying that there were masked men kidnapping our neighbors, causing chaos in the streets. That perfectly exemplifies the sentiment by the radical, violent anti-ICE protesters and rioters that asked Jacob Fry to send Minneapolis cops to fight ICE agents.
So this is the federal vehicle that they broke into and stole stuff out of, A rifle, bullets, other stuff. Look.
Almost there.
Oh, wow.
Okay, so they're all into whatever's in there, look. That must be a rifle, I think.
Oh my God.
Yeah, that's a rifle.
Oh my God.
So this is Tim Walz and Governor Fry's lot doing this. They can say it's not, but it is, because they're enticing them to do it.
There's some bullets.
Hey, that's a 47.
I don't know.
Ain't no way.
Tourniquet there.
Did he get...
Okay. Hey, don't film that. Who's that running?
Go.
Oh, shit.
They're all running now. Look, there's all their faces. See, cities weren't designed to work. You've got to just come to the conclusion, cities are not designed to work.
Eventually, you know, with the truck,
Gee, that looks pretty end of days stuff, isn't it? That looks really bad. Wow, that's end of days stuff, that. So they've got an illegal alien there.
There's a young man arrested. Watch out behind us. Watch out for the ice as well. Let's get up on the sidewalk.
If you listen to the chaos in the background, that's what the government's asking for. Tim Walz's government and the mayor.
Young Hispanic man, zip-tied or handcuffed.
I'm only 14. How old are you guys? 14. 14? You're 14? 14 and 15. 15? What's your 14 and 15? What are your guys' names? Sean James and Trayshawn James.
What were they?
Trayshawn James of 14 and 15-year-old kids. So I think they were the ones who threw the firecracker. I'm not sure yet. So, but
I wouldn't say anything that we're not sure.
We're not sure of anything yet, but we do know that they did just take a 14 and 15-year-old.
Okay, so they've taken two of them. She's just a flying monkey.
Yep, they released the kids.
That's good to hear.
Yes.
They were teenagers that.
Yeah, they were teenagers, 14 and 15. They released them and they're back home. So
like.
Okay, so they've been released.
They if they probably wouldn't have released if they had any evidence that they did anything.
Yeah, exactly.
So.
Yeah.
But also, they just they seem to just
why are
want.
we handcuffing our children? What?
Because they're criminals. That's why. And then, come on. Why are they out throwing firecrackers and rocks and ice and all the rest of it at federal police?
Why is that necessary? Like, what the fuck? Dude, come on. They have nothing on them. He's in a hoodie when he was taken. How's that threat?
That's just how law works, isn't it? I'll catch you on the next one, guys.